Good morning, welcome to Natasha Makes. I am Natasha. We are making today. Yes, we are. What are we making? Oh my goodness. We're making this. We are, really. You have been asking me for so long, every time we make a bag, you say to me, Natasha, can we put a zip pocket in? Can we put a zip pocket in? Yeah, the answer is always yes. You can put a zip pocket in pretty much any bag. It's just time. It's just time. So what I thought I would do for you today is I've written you instructions as to how to put in a zip pocket. And when I mean a zip pocket, I mean one like this. Now, this is a beginner bag. And if I just show you the bag from this side, this is the easiest bag that you will ever make. Honest, really is. And we can whip that up in minutes. But if you want to up the ante a little bit, so you can buy this. This is a beginner bag. I will show you how to make this. Now, the additional thing is, if you want to add a pocket, and if you want to add a pocket to any of your bags, then grab those instructions. And look, that's all beautifully lined there. And that's going to be with any zip size. So, lovely bag, very easy to make. Kind of I wanted one that I could just do that with. Easy. That had big enough straps. If you want to, and this is the thing, this is what I've written about this bag, is that you can just do this. I haven't interfaced this at all. I've used our wax products, so they already have a nice texture to them, and they already have, that bit of oomph. But if you want to, by the time it's filled, it's going to be absolutely fine. And I've put a little magnetic clasp on there. That's absolutely fine. That works. A treat for me. I'll be happy with that. Lovely. If you want to make it firm and sturdy so that never loses its shape, then you add style fill. If you want it so that it's got a little bit more oomph, then you add something like firm interfacing or H640. That's where you can start to add a little bit in design. That's all in the instructions. But as I've done it, your instructions will make this plain bag. If you want to add the zip, get the add a zip instructions, and then you can add that zip to any bag. So it's sort of modular a bit today. Now, if you are a Natasha McCarty Designs member, I will be making a video for you on how to do this technique, and it will be going into the new little zips area that we've got in our Natasha McCarty Designs members area. Now, you might wonder, I know that we've caused a little bit of confusion, so let me explain. This is Natasha Makes, and this is free for everybody to watch anytime they like, and the videos are kept on YouTube always. We've got videos going back 5 years, 3 times a week for the last 5 years. Every time you buy a pattern, it's got the date that it was demoed, and if you search through and you go through, it might not be that the demo's right at the start because I show you all our beautiful fabrics at the start. But if you scroll through, then the demo is there for you. If you are a Natasha McCarty Designs member, those videos of makes that are on there are pure makes videos. There's no selling, there's no extra, there's just how to make the thing. And if there's a template you can download, and you've got the you will need list. That's what is in the Natasha McCarty Designs members subscription. It's $6.99 a month for now. It will be going up, okay? So you've got lots of different patterns and videos in there. When I say patterns, I mean as in the templates and stuff. And then you've got your tutorial videos. On top of that, you get a free Zoom workshop every month with me. And we try and do a social call as well. Now, you don't have to come on camera, you don't have to say anything, but if you do have questions, you can either ask them. It's a really friendly atmosphere, or you can just type them in the chat if you don't want to say anything. So you can lurk or you can participate. It's entirely up to you. But those are there for you should you wish. And that is on the membership part of the website. You can join up. It's $6.99 a month. Leave whenever you like. Join again whenever you like. But if you join again, if you leave and come back, you will join at whatever the new rate is. And there is a lot about to happen on there. So if you get in now before all the new stuff gets added, it's good. Today we have got bundles of wax. In fact, could somebody just pop a link in the Facebook chat for where you can find the members area, please? That would be lovely. So the next Zoom workshop, and we do them generally on a Monday. I think the next one is after the bank holiday, so it'll be on the Tuesday, but it's generally on a Monday. We're doing all about handles, making all different kind of handles. So it's a kind of a handle masterclass, if you like. But we've made all sorts of things. We've made bags out of velvet. We've made that's how the ruler bag came about. That was one of the things that we did. We've made stuff out of cork. We've done all sorts of different things. But it means that you get a bit of hand holding and just pushed out of your comfort zone to try something new. I love that a lot of people have bought the velvet but not actually sewn with it. And we got over that and maybe not used Starvel before, and then they did because we were there helping all along the way. And Gemma's on board, we're all there. Before I do that, what can you see in the background here? Now, yesterday we launched an incredible offer. Now, these are the new Tilda fabrics that they are shipped to us in about 6 weeks, I think. These are the Wallflower collection. I have picked my favourite 15. We've bundled them in a long quarter bundle. That's what they look like. That's just a printout just to give you an idea. That they are the 15 that I have bought in for us. Okay. If you buy that long quarter bundle, and a lot of you, and guys, you know when I said it's going to be first come first serve on this, it went a bit crazy for it yesterday. And if you buy 2, then you'll get a 1/2 metre of every single fabric. But with it coming for free, you will get a 1/2 metre of grey and a 1/2 metre, we think possibly this one, but 2 1/2 metres, a full metre of wax, okay, or our technical fabrics. We think it's going to be these, but if they come and they don't look right and something looks better, we'll swap it out. But you are getting 2 1/2 metres, so a metre of our technical fabric, which would normally cost you £45 for free. On top of that, we haven't charged you the £8.79 per 1/2 metre that it should be. We've done an intro at £7.99 and we've kept that price. So there is a massive saving on that bundle. It is only available on pre-order. As soon as those goods are in our warehouse, that stops. And it broke my heart last time we ran this because so many of you on the day waited to see them and then didn't get the deal. If you know you love Tilda and you know you're going to buy them and you know you're going to get them anyway, why not get £45 worth of fabric free? You won't get this anywhere else, by the way. You won't. This is just here. Just us. Just here. Just us. That's it. Monday's bank holiday show is a little bit more Tildery as well. We're going to have a whale of a time. Yes, we are. I do love the Tilda whales and just some of her basics, which are beautiful. So we're going to have a little look at that as well. Today's show. Let's have a look at today's bundles, shall we? Here we are. So these are coming in at £12.99 a bundle. You've got a 1/2 metre of wax and a 1/2 metre of designer. So we've got our slate grey here, which is beautiful, and we've put that with the golden lily. This is a percale. It makes such a beautiful lining fabric. Absolutely gorgeous. So a little William Morris-esque there. This is a Liberty bundle with your Garden Follies, and you've got the Tap Beach technical fabric there. These are, when I say technical fabrics, they're waterproof fabrics. And they're just incredible. They are the fabrics that Barbour used to make all of their Barbour goodies. Hey, I had a look on the Barbour website. 200 quid for a bag. Not too dissimilar. Maybe it was slightly wider than that one. But seriously, 200 quid for a bag. Get your fabric here, make your own. This is the same fabric. Come out of the same factory. There has been, somewhere along the line, there has been a retirement. And so these fabrics came up available where they wouldn't normally, and I grabbed them all. So here they are. This is your granite stripe and your stripe. This is a plum stripe. This is a tilde stripe. But I just love that plum and that grey. And that has got a nice bit of texture to it. I think that's an 8 ounce. So that's going to have a lot of structure to it without any need for interfacing. But what about this? This is rather lovely as well. Again, another percale here, this time with our navy, French navy. And you've got your Art Nouveau percale there, which is going to make an incredible lining. Now, this is what I made my sample out of, and this is your camo dalliance. This is a Sanderson fabric. Top notch. We've got Liberty, we've got Sanderson, we've got Tilda, we've got William Morris designs. Like, what is not, that's not William Morris. William Morris, so you've got beautiful, beautiful fabrics here for $12.99 for a metre of fabric. Half a metre of your wax, half a metre of your designer. These are just incredible prices. When they're gone, they're gone. We will never be able to get these waxes back. When they're gone, they're gone. Like I say, these, we should be charging these out at £45 a metre. So that would have made these bundles around the £30 mark. So they're better than half price anyway. If you, the lovely thing is, I've seen so many of you, and you've gone, we bought some, and then we came back for more, and then we made something, our husbands loved it, so they said, buy more. So we have, because these won't be, when these are gone, I can't get them back. Like I say, this was just a rare opportunity of a retirement that meant that these came on the open market. Otherwise, you've got to get them through the normal channels, which would be £45 a metre. These are top quality. They're beautiful. Now, today's make. It's pretty simple. And you don't need a lot of fabric. Okay, let's show you this. You can either do your outer in one. If it's non-directional, just cut it in one length. And again, that's all in the instructions. If you are using a directional print like this, then you are going to want to do it in 2 pieces, and we will put them right sides together and we will sew along that baseline. But we will do all of that once we have put our zip in. Now, I have got you a zip bundle. So this is the way that I've written the instructions, means that you can use any zip size, and I've got a bundle of 72 different zips. So 24 zips of different colours in 3 different sizes makes your 72 zip bundle. So, I mean, this is, yeah, I've got mine all in different packets so that I've got all the sizes differently, but this is what it sort of looks like. So have a look on the website. I am limited on those. I can only do, I'm going to use that one today. Do I want to use that one? I can only do, what's going to work with that? I've only got what I've got. I can't get any more. I've had everything from our suppliers there. So if you want them, please do grab them. Should I do that with that? Is that going to be nice and smart there? Oh, it might be. Or do we want to go darker, like a khaki one? Or do we want to go grey? Or that? Oh, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? Yeah, so these instructions will show you how to do any size and work it out from there. I might go light on this one. We could do yellow, you know. But I don't like that with that. No. Let's go cream. Let's go light. Okay. So. I've got to remember how I did this. I'm not feeling my most fabulous best today, by the way. Just in case any of you are wondering. I sound very husky. I am channeling my Mariella Fostrop. Hey, look, it worked for her, didn't it? That's what I'm channeling today. So we'll go with it. So the first thing that you need to do, I've got to remember how to do this now because I wrote this whilst I was watching Freddie playing hockey the other day. I might write it down on a piece of paper. Here we go. And just make a note of things as I go. That's my template for my sit-up chambray. Luckily, I can just put this on and it will come off. So you want to measure your zip, first of all. And I want to measure it. What have I written in my instructions? I'm going to go back to my instructions. Let's do that, shall we? Just so that because I changed things a couple of times. Right. I want to measure the full length of this, which is 9 inches, and I'm going to add 1 inch to that. Okay. And that measurement is going to be the width I need for my pocket lining. Okay. Here's my fabric for my pocket lining. We haven't cut that yet. So I've got a 10-inch width. Okay. And then I want to decide how deep I want my pocket. So my pocket's going to sit about there. So I want it to be sort of that sort of depth. So what's that? 6. Now this is going to go through and double up. So I'm going to double that, and that will be 12. But I also need to have fabric that's going to go at the top of it. So I'm going to add another bit onto that. So I end up with a height of 15 inches. So let's cut that out of here. Now here's the thing. You can see this is a directional fabric. Dun, dun, dun. Is this going to be a problem? No, because I used a directional fabric with my Sanderson, and it was absolutely lovely, and I will show you. This is why I've chosen this one to demo in today, so that if you are using a directional fabric, it's absolutely fine. So you see when that opens up like so, that's going to be in there. And yeah, we are all good. Might make it just slightly shorter. But again, this is where, with whatever your project is, you get to choose how big you want your pocket to be. It might be that you've got a massive tote bag, a massive beach bag, something like that. Our beach bag would be phenomenal with a zip. And that's perfect. So I need that now to be, what did we say, 10 inches wide. That, believe it or not, is beautiful scrap. Right, you can interface this if you want. There is no problem with that at all. Let's give that a little press, maybe even a little spritz as we give it a press. Oh, that smells so nice, that platter. Right, okay. So when this goes in, this will be the back. Let me show you this on the bag. You can see there I've got my fabrics round the right way. Yeah, so it's, yeah, directionally we are a-okay there. Not a problem. Which means that this here needs to be the front. Also, help if I cut that straight. That's terrible. Trim that back to be straight. My goodness me. What was I thinking? Looks drunk. You know, you should starch your fabrics before you do anything. Right, so this is going to be the back of it, effectively. So when we start measuring, we're going to do it kind of upside down so that when that folds up at the end and we open the pocket, that's going to be gorgeous. So we're going to have our zip in that bit and it will open into this incredible Liberty Garden. Beautiful. Okay. Now, I am going to measure 1.5 inches down from the top of here. I'm going to draw a line all the way along. Guys, these pens are great because they can always come out. Now, this measurement here is going to be, let's find that halfway line, is going to be the middle of where my zip gets inserted. That's the midline of there, and that's where my zip is going to be. Let's find the middle of that zip as well. There we go. Just finding the middle of everything. And then this is our bag outer, so let's find the middle of that so that we can line everything up there. And we need to decide where on the outside of our bag we want this to sit as well. That's the other kind of important bit of this. I am just looking around for my pokey tool because with these wax fabrics you don't have to use a marker pen on them. You can actually use a pokey tool and it works an absolute treat. If I can, here it is. So this is my middle bit here, and that is where I want my zip to sit. So that's your placement, which means that I'm going to line up this line with this line, and my centre point here is centre all the way through. So everything there is now centred. I'm right sides together, and this is now great. So I'm going to find that centre point of my zip, so pop that on there, and I'm going to mark on here, up on that line there, 1/4 inch in from this metal bit. You don't want to be sewing over that metal bit, so you can either go 1/4 inch that side of the metal, in which case you've got kind of a gappy bit here, or you can go 1/4 inch in this side, which means that you will never see these metally bits. So we're going to go 1/4 inch in there, and the same over here. That's where the end of the zip is, and we're going to go 1/4 inch in there. Okay, and then we are going to where's my 1/2 inch line? Here we go. We're going to measure 1/4 inch, sorry, either side. So it's a 1/2 inch in total. On that line. So on those marks that we made, and this is going to give us the gap where the zip is going to sit. Okay, so just keep lining everything up really neatly so that you do a nice rectangular line. Then we're going to measure in 1/2 inch from each end and draw diagonally into those corners from there. We don't need to worry about that yet. Okay, now what you can do is clip or pin this into position, and we're going to sew around that rectangle. That's going to be the next thing that we do. Okay, so we're going to sew all the way around there. Before we do that, I will show you this on a little close-up Bear with me, caller. Oh. Don't pin through all the layers. So there's my middle mark. That's my middle of everything. That's my middle of my outer fabric, the middle of my lining, my pocket fabric, the middle of my zip. Then this is the measurement of my zip, 1/4 of an inch in from those metal bits. So that was lined up on the central line, and I've come in so that I'm not going to be sewing over those metal bits. You don't want to be sewing over that. That is broken needle zone, and we don't want that. This was the initial line that I drew, and then we measured 1/4 of an inch either side. And now we're going to sew on that line. I've been making toys for my zip, my stitch line. My stitch length was slightly short. Now you see, I've sewn that, but that's not on the line that I want. I've crept over. So I am going to sew exactly on the line that I want. And if that means that, you know, maybe you shorten your stitch length so that you can be accurate with where that line starts and finishes, then that's great. Yeah, but just by shortening that stitch length slightly, I've landed exactly where I need to be. And then let me just sew that. So we've sewn all the way round. So now what we're going to do is fold this and snip on that very first line you drew, that middle line, with your beautiful scissors, obviously. And then you're going to, and I'm cutting through all the layers up to that 1/2 inch mark, and then I'm going up into those corners. Try not to catch your stitching. But we are going all through all those layers. Okay. And this is why this is called the post box technique, because we're going to gather up our fabric and we are going to post it through. All of it. And then we're going to press it. So we're going to pull all of that out, like so. And we are going to press so that that seam is on the edge. What I love about these waxes is that you can finger press them first and they stay, which is just brilliant. You see. So I'd give it a good old finger press. Okay. So from that side, that's what we're seeing. If you need to just Sometimes I quite like seeing some of the fabric, depends. There we go. So that now, that's why it's called the post box. Lovely. Okay. So what we're going to do now is get our quilters wash away tape. Gemma said to me this morning, you haven't put quilters wash away tape in your make. I'm like, oh no, but it is in this bit. So quilters wash away tape along the top and the bottom is fantastic. You can open up that zip. You're going to need to open up that zip a little bit. Now, and take off your tape. Now you might need to align this a couple of times. But just make sure that that 1/4 of an inch, you might want to mark it on the fabric so that you can see where the edge is here. Sort of mark up from there so you can see that edge, so that that metal bit there doesn't go anywhere near it. And you want to place that centrally there. I have not moved that along enough. And you want to check your placements. Oh, Gemma's reloaded the beginner bag kits where she can. The Liberty and the Sanderson both sold out and have been restocked. So she said it's time to hit the website for those that missed out. The Percale kits have also sold out. She's just trying to get clarification from Jane and Wizzy whether we have more stock of the slate wax and the French Navy Ranger to see if we can make any more of those. Well done, guys. That's all I can say. You know a bargain when you see it. I'm happy that that is centrally placed. And I'm going to top stitch all the way around there. I'm going to do that from the top. It's held in place with my quilters wash away tape because that's why we use it. Because it's brilliant. Can I just say one thing? That is, just clip or pin this bit out the way. When I did mine, it snuck up underneath and I had to unpick, which was really annoying. So we're going to top stitch from the top, and it is going to be really, really as close as you can to it as you go around. Thank you very much, Gemma, for those Gemma's wondering about the handles. Yes, Gemma, you can sell all of those. We've got beautiful handles for you. And it's, again, it's one of those things I've been waiting for the right project for it. And this has been it. Now, you might need to just move that zip out of the way, and that is absolutely fine. If you sew, by the way, with a see-through foot, do you know what? It doesn't matter how many times I do this and how many times I remind myself to always keep the metal bits out of the way. I still have a moment where I'm like, oh, did I keep it out of the way enough? Yes. Yes, I did. That was the whole point. But it doesn't matter, you still, if you've ever broken a needle on a zip, then you will always have that moment where you're like, oh, did I do that okay? Ooh, lovely, thank you. Emily, is that, oh, it's perfect pairs, brilliant, thank you. Can you pop it there for me, please? We have lovely Amy with us today, who's looking absolutely petrified because she knows the cameras are on. Are you not camera ready, darling? No. No, she's like, it's early. No. So I have top stitched all the way around. So that's the zip in place. Now all we need to do is then bring our pocket up on itself. And this is where you can just give yourself a little high five, because when that zip is open, you are going to see that gorgeous Liberty fabric on the inside, looking all fancy schmancy. Lovely, 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 lovely. So what we're going to do is, and you can run a little line of tape along here just to help if you want, just hold everything in place. If you don't want a pin. I don't want a pin. Never want a pin. Come on. Fold that up onto that line there. And then fold your wax away, or your outer fabric away. Pin it away, do whatever you need to get it out of the way. Okay? And you're going to sew around those three sides. This is just straight line sewing. I've pinned and clipped everything just to keep it out of the way. That's it. That's my pocket done. And I could have put the zip in the other way round, you know, whichever way around you like. But yeah, that's it. And I've got a little bit of wiggle room up there. You know, when you you put a phone in sometimes, you just want that little bit of space up there. A little bit of space to the sides. That is one very smart little zip. So let's get making the bag then. So then we're going to fold it up on itself. I'm going to stitch down both sides. I did tell you that this is going to be the easiest bag you ever made, and I am not lying. These bag instructions do not have the zip insertion instructions with them. They are just, it's just the beginner bag. It's this bit now. Okay, so that is my bag outer. Now my lining. If you're using a directional, you've got different measurements if you're using a directional, and instead of having one long piece, you will have two, which means that we need to make it into one long piece. I've cut up, there's a bit of selvage there. By the time that I've sewn that, I'm not going to see it, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to sew 1/4 of an inch along that bottom there. Okay, and then we're going to sew down both sides. We're going to leave ourselves a turning through gap in one side. Okay, got to turn it through somewhere. And you can see the fact that I had that little bit of salvage there doesn't matter because you're not going to see it. It just means I've got extra fabric to use elsewhere, which is fabulous. And I've got a turning through gap there, so we are all good. Now, what we're going to do is layer this one on top of the other. Now, this is the folded line, so I want that folded line to sit on that sewn line because that is effectively the same then, isn't it? And we're going to measure in 2.5 inches, and we're going to go and use the base as either that sewn line or that folded line. Okay. So we're going with the seams where the seams are. So you'll go on the seam of the bag and the seam of there. And then we're going to cut through all layers. Okay. Now you can either cut that before you sew everything or after. We're going to keep these and we're just going to cut off those little edges there. I want those 4 squares. You'll see why in just a minute. If you've cut them off before you've sewn, then you don't have to trim off any seam or unpick anything, but we'll use those, or you can just cut them later. We are going to box the bottoms, so separate and then sew across that straight edge. We're going to do that with all of them. I love our viewers so much. One of you, love you so much, sent me after Monday's pouch. It's like, if you wanted to have a box bottom where it matches perfectly, you could have done it at this angle. I was like, I know, but what I wanted was to be able to use those offcuts, and they needed to be straight. So I love that you guys maths for me, and that's fabulous. Made me very happy. I love that you get involved. So matching the side seam and the bottom seam. Well, you don't have that bottom seam, you'll match that bottom. Oh, hello, come undone. You'll match the bottom fold line instead. And the beautiful thing about these technical fabrics is that we can see those very obviously. Last corner. Will you remind me, don't let me go without showing you tomorrow's perfect pairs. We had sellouts galore last week. So, we now have our outer and our lining. And we've got our pocket. We know that that is going to sit nicely in there. So the next thing is thinking about handles, and this is what we will do on our handles workshop. Team Makes, Gemma says, have managed to witchy woo some more kits. They need to move quickly as some are the last of the stock. Oh my goodness me. Okie dokie. Okay, well, that's what it is, that's what it is. Let's cut these into four squares. And we are going to fold them in half, fold those edges into the middle, and fold over. We will top stitch down both edge. Okay, fold in half, edge, edge, fold up, done. And we'll batch do these. 7 sets of handles have gone. Are you selling the handles individually, Gemma, or as pairs? I had 7 pairs and then an additional 4 pairs. Pairs, yeah. So I've got 4 pairs to add. We're going to top stitch down both sides. And when we fold those, all that's doing is just making sure we've got no raw edges on our tabs. Spin them around and then sew down the other side. I've got a lovely variegated, like creams and tans and stuff, variegated, which is perfect for this project, but also for the corks as well. One of you was asking me about, oh sorry, I didn't change the camera, sometimes it gets a little bit sticky. They're up, says Gemma, and again those handles are going to be fastest fingers first for you. These handles are absolutely lovely. Right, they are the tabs. We've sewn down one side, then sewn back up the other. Well done that, Gemma. Will I be able to get any more? I don't know, I'll have to have a look, but again they would be on a delayed dispatch. So right, let's have a look then where these are going to go. I'm going to measure in 3.5 inches from that edge on both sides and mark it on the other side as well. So I know that all of these are going to be going in the same place. Perfect. I'm going to fold them in half, and again we're going to put that folded edge in like so. If you want to, you can make them shorter if you don't want them to stick out as much, in which case just trim them a little bit or have them sticking out a little bit. I might trim mine back on this one a little bit. There we go. Pop them there, and I'm going to baste these in place. I've come to the inside side of that line, and I'm going to do that on all of them. And I'm going to actually remember to change my camera angle for you. So I'm just sewing these with a seam allowance that's less than 1/2 inch. Just popping these in place. And when I was thinking about my placement for this, I knew that I had 1.5 inches from the zip top, so I made sure that I had an extra 1/2 inch clearance on the top there. So our zip, I can feel my zip is there 1.5 inches down, so I made sure that I did 2 inches from the top of that one. Just means that I've got that clearance and I'm not sewing that pocket into the top unless you want to. I mean, it's no bother if you want to sew that into the top of your lining, but I didn't want to add that bulk in. So I'm going to turn this through the right way and insert this into my bag. So I've got my right sides together, and again I'm going to do that thing where I match the seams. And if you want to clip, then do. And match my other seam. Now I'm going to do the finger test. What is that? Finger test is where you put your finger in like that and you pull it taut. And if there's no bagging, then you know that you've got the same seam allowance, and that is going to then sew in without any bother at all. So now we're just going to sew all the way around that top seam and get that in. So the beautiful thing about this, if you are a beginner and you've not worked with these fabrics before, these technical fabrics are absolutely fabulous. And they sew up a treat. You don't have to use lots of different interfacings and things like that. They do have enough body by themselves. You can do, and you can use that interfacing, and I'd use that interfacing in the lining if you wanted to use interfacing. Just because if it's a fusible one, these are water repellent, which often means that they will not take an adhesive in terms of an iron-on adhesive, especially not if you're using one of the Bondvilles, which has got a wet wax finish to it. I don't think any of these that we've got in the kits today are wet wax finishes. The French Navy is particularly fabulous. So we're sewn all the way around the top. Got our pocket there that we did earlier, and then we're just going to find our turning through gap and turn everything through the right way. So like I said, this is very much a beginner bag. If you want to add interfacings and more sturdiness, then you do. But as a beginner, that can be quite daunting, and it doesn't necessarily need it. By the time that you've got stuff in your bag, now at this point, see, this is what I love about this particular fabric that we're using today. This one comes with the, I've mixed and matched my fabrics a little bit because they all work. This is the one that comes with the Sanderson, I think. But it looks great with Liberty as well. I'm going to sew up my turning through gap. So just fold over that seam. You can press it if you want. And then just top stitch that down. We'd all love, in an ideal world, to hand stitch these. Of course we would. However, who has time for that? Who actually has time for that? Whereas that is sewn together, no problem. So now we're going to put that lining into the bag, like so. It's quite nice when you've got little D-ringy things like that, little tabs, because it just means that you can just pull your lining through. Finger press, heat press, whichever you like. Just get that seam on the top. And then when you've got those seams on the top, you can press it, like I say, with these fabrics, finger pressing works just as well. I'm going to top stitch just around there. Again, this is a beginner bag, so there's no bolt. And that's top stitched neatly all the way around. Okay. Now on these bags you can add, we've got somewhere, I don't know if I've got them here, the fold over magnets, magnetic clasps, which is what I've got on here, and you're just going to squeeze them in place with your pliers, but they just fold over and squeeze in place. Perfect. You can add your handmade tag. You can add all those things on with your rivets if you've got them. Now the beautiful thing here, of course, is that we're going to add in, what did I do with them? Here we go. And these are your options. Things like the spring D-rings, or you might want to add, these are the screw-in, so these unscrew your screw-in D-rings. They unscrew and then that will sit on there, which will then give you did I actually get, oh, here we go. No, I used these. Which means that you can take them out and use these handles somewhere else. Handles can be, you know, the most expensive part of the bag. So if you want to just pop these on, you might have bought the glittery diamante ones, the round ones that we've had, those O runs, they would go on this as well. Diddly-dee. For some reason. More fingers and there we go. And then these unpopper and can pop her on. Now, I know that these will sell out today. If I can get more, I will. But we spoke on our, there you go. See, that's your handles in, and that's your easiest bag. You've got your pocket there, which looks fabulous, just looks like the lining is there. And so you've got those, and you'll have your other handle on, and that's great. But, what if budget anything else is a thing? I said to our design members, you can always make your own handles, and cork is perfect for it. So let's see if we can't make ourselves very quickly. This isn't in the instructions, by the way. This will be part of our bag handle making course, if you like. Let's make these the same length. That actually, why wouldn't you actually know I need that to turn through? Maybe I do want them smaller. Let's try it. Part of our bag handle making course, well, workshop that we will have next month. So let's just trim these down. Let's say, can we do about 2 inches? Yeah. A little bit less. And again, this is just my leftovers. So you can buy specifically for it. We did have a 3 for 2 on 24-inch lengths of cork, which would be perfect for handles. We discovered the other day. So let's just make sure that these are the right length here. Get rid of that salvage. And then work out where your middle line is. So you can make these any length, width, whatever you like. Where's my pen? How wide have I done them? So that's it there. So you're going to draw along that middle line and you'll whip out your quilter's wash away tape. Of course you will. Now I've not made this sort of handle before. I'll make one, see how we go. So this is as much an experiment for me really as it is for you. But what we did make the other day, of course, were our handles for our bags. So there's no reason why we can't make a handle similar to that, but then have it so that it folds up and then pop a popper on. So we'll see if that's the sort of thing that we could do here. Again, this is more technique than it being the right length or anything like that. Because like I say, just made out of scraps. But if you want to make handles like it, and then you get to make them longer, shorter, whatever you like. So fold that then into the middle. We do have a guide to bag handles, which we need to add these now into, now that we've started making our own cork ones. And you want to just top stitch down both sides. If you haven't sewn with our cork yet, it's like sewing through butter. It's really delicious, very, very easy to do. And that gives you a lovely handle. Now, if we want to make a handle like this one, then all we would need to do is turn it under and insert a clip. So give it enough clearance that you can get it through there. And then, so you'd measure where that is, and then you'd insert your snap to hold that in place. If I mark that off, then I would know that I will be folding that over 2 inches. Pop your snap in there and you will have handles that you could pop onto there, no problem. If you wanted to, once those were snapped on, if you wanted to then just fold that again and just have like a little bit at the top that was sewn flat, then you can do that. This is where handles become so versatile and we need a whole workshop around them. But yeah, that would work, an absolute treat. Put them on your, these spring-loaded ones means you can take them out. These are the same, you can unscrew them and then use them in multiple makes so that your hardware doesn't have to cost the earth and you can work it between makes. Pop a popper in there and that's going to be a lovely handle. So there we go, lots of hints and tips and tricks today for you. I'm not going to do any more because I feel pretty rubbish. Soz everybody, but I feel like a right snotty mess. But thank you ever so much for watching. Oh, perfect pairs. I do need to show you these. So for those of you that are watching for the first time, our perfect pairs are they've taken over where the half metre heavens left off. We used to do 2 half metres for $9.99, but one was a plain and one was a pattern fabric, and that was absolutely perfect. But when we started getting the wax and stuff in, we can't let them go for $9.99. It's just insane. Not when the wax itself should be £22.50. But we've met you somewhere in the middle with them all. Ow! The girls have finished off my weighing as well. Look at him. Monday's show. I'm going to put him proudly up there. Oh yeah. Oh, he's rather fabulous. Should I spin around that way? I love him. I love him. Right, let me show you perfect pairings. So perfect pairings just gave us more scope, really, when we found things that we thought that you might need. We weren't just squashed to just finding two bits of fabric. So, however, having said that, this is the last of the shell rummel. And that is paired with a wax. So a 1/2 metre of shell rummel, a 1/2 metre of wax. They would do today's make. Beautiful. Make your own cork handles. You're laughing. I've got 3 of, again, shell rummel. I think these failed to sell because you can't, it's under the cameras, you can't see the detailing in here. They are such a gorgeous fabric. You've got your slate wax there. I've got the details of what that is. Oh, you've got pebble there with slate, and here you've got the large steady hand with slate. That slate wax is just gorgeous, and these are going to be $12.99 tomorrow. They go up at midnight. This is the last of it. This one is so pretty. You've got, it's this design, but with the sort of the pinkier tones, and that's gone with cloud. Again, that's another wax one with cloud. And then we've got 2 more with your grey cambric. So this one here, the slate is a wax, and the cambric has not got a waxy finish, but it is waterproof. Oh, Janio! You're just loving these, aren't you, Jane?
They're really cute.
Jane's just handed me these. This is Monday's show. How gorgeous are they? I mean, to be fair, the girls did swear at me because this one was a little bit fiddly to stuff. Yes.
I've got several holes in my fingers.
But so worth it. Jane, it's so worth it. They look amazing. Super easy to sew. And if you've got the patience, then stuffing them is not going to be a problem. Obviously, I did mine with, like, you know, we need to pre-record so that we can all have Easter off. Right, we have also got 2.5 meters of the penguins and a 1/2 meter of black. So you've got 2.5 meters of designer fabric and a meter of black. I've only got one of these, and I've only got one of these. These penguins, we never made anything with them. They just flew. Which is amazing, given that, you know, penguins can't fly. That's all I've got left. I don't know why they were there in the first place. Now, this is a gorgeous pairing, and it's the very last of it as well. And these are the beautiful bunnies. This is by the same artist of the Guess How Much I Love You. And we have picked a beautiful caramel coloured wax to go with these. So you can make bags for the little ones or whatever and line it with those bunnies. Or you can do wax based. Have I got any of my wax based makes? Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. You could do a... well, that would be a water repellent base there for a baby mat or anything like that. But again, it's only the last handful that I've got of these. Now, these are Tilda. These are, she calls these her blenders, but they're just so beautiful. I'm going to show you these on a close-up because we paired these. And again, this is the very, very last of them. We paired them with the chambrays that we've had. So 2.5 meters, a 1/2 meter of Tilda and a 1/2 meter of the chambray, which just looks gorgeous. Look, it's exactly that colour on the flower. When these are gone, they're gone. We've only got a handful. That's the royal there. Just means that you know that you've got fabrics that work together. And then the turquoise there, which is the leaf colour. We were so thrilled when we saw these, like, oh, they work so well. So well. And we were happy. So there we go. That is that for tomorrow. And breathe. I'm going to pre-record Monday's show for you, which is going to be, it's going to be a cracker. But also, I do have an announcement over the weekend. Please, 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 do keep an eye on social media, because I've got some special deals for you over the bank holiday weekend, which you're not going to want to miss. And then, of course, we've got our bank holiday show on the Monday, and then we'll be back live again on Tuesday. Take care. Have a lovely Easter. And thank you ever so much for watching. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.